Hello, my name is Kellen Hicks, and I'm going to be reflecting on my model of instruction, which is the Fundamental Five, and also discussing how I use this in my lesson planning and also the components of the Fundamental Five. So the first component is framing the lesson. And when planning lessons, I look at the TEKS, and that's going to provide the we will statement for the lesson. We use a backward design when we plan, so we look at what the students are expected to do at the end of the unit, and then we can better plan for a task that can be accomplished at the end of a specific lesson. And that task is going to be my I will statement. The next component is the power zone, and knowing your students and their personalities is essential for this because I need to know where my kids are that get distracted the easiest, which ones need the most engagement. I also can provide proximity to those that can be behavior problems during a lesson. And just when I see engagement going down, moving in closer sometimes helps to encourage the correct participation. The next component is recognize and reinforce. And during the lesson planning process, I may note specific types of feedback that I need to give students, just so I can reinforce the behaviors that I want to see them doing. For example, when teaching the sound for letter A, instead of just saying, good job saying the ah sound, I would say, I like the way you opened your mouth and you made the ah sound continuous. That way it's just more specific, and it's also reinforcing those behaviors that I want them to be doing. The next component is small group purposeful talk. And when lesson planning, we try to put intentionally specific times for students to talk to each other. It may be at the beginning of the lesson to talk about what they already know, during a lesson to answer questions or restate what we're learning, or at the end of a lesson to kind of sum up what they've learned throughout that lesson. I know kids love to talk, and it's a way for them to put their learning into their own words. And sometimes it also helps kids to hear what I said, but from a peer. And so it's more kid friendly and more from their point of view. The last component is critical writing. And this usually goes in hand in hand with the I will statement. And so when planning a lesson, I look where it's located in the unit, and also look at what time of year it is in order to determine what that will look like. At the beginning of the year, it may be a dictated sentence or even a picture, and then middle end of year, it may be a sentence or sentences. And a lot of times in kindergarten, we have their critical writing piece be done in an independent center. So it may be done not necessarily at the conclusion of a lesson, but later on during their independent center time. Some things that I think are positive, it really, you really have to think about things when you're planning, as far as knowing your TEKS and what you're teaching. I think having the kids talk to each other is very important. And as far as a weakness, it's been hard with COVID, especially the small group purposeful talk, because they are so separated. But we're trying to make it work. And also the critical writing. Like I said, a lot of times we'll put it in a center. Sometimes it's not easy with time constraints, doing it at the end of every lesson. So that might be one thing that I may need to work on. Anyway, so that's my model of instruction. It's the Fundamental Five. Those are the components, how I use them in my lesson planning, and some of the things that I think are strengths of this model and some of the weaknesses that I have using this model as well. Thank you.